That's just my puppy dog.
Oh my gosh. Right, though?
Yeah. Sorry, that was a little inside joke. Go listen to Doggyland. You'll get it right away.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Ricky Hayes, my beautiful wife, Corrina Hayes. We got Tony, Stats and Info Lance, and back 2 times in a row for a second episode. Katie, we don't have a nickname, but it's coming soon. Welcome back, guys.
Oh, hey, guys. Thank you.
For everybody tuning in, welcome back. We are back, Challenge Fandom Podcast, of course, and we're going to be breaking down episode 5 of the Challenge 39, Battle for a New Champion. And the name of this one, Countdown to Chaos. It makes sense. I don't have a joke. They actually did a good job this week. Congratulations, guys.
I mean, it's still kind of corny, but at the same time, like, it's not a bad title.
You know what? We're done. We can wrap it up. They don't need us anymore.
They're learning. They're growing.
Finally.
Shouldn't last episode have been Countdown to Chaos, and then this one's like Chaos Reigns Supreme or something like that?
You would think, right? Because and that was the thing that confused me, was that Chaos started at the beginning of where's the count? I mean, I guess they had a 13-hour countdown that we saw like 3 minutes of. Yeah.
Yeah.
As Kylan said, not the fucking clock stealing all my shine.
Oh, dude, I forgot about that. But that is, if it wasn't for like 2 other things said in this whole episode,
oh my God,
that would have been my line of the night. There
was some good lines. There were some good lines.
I have a lot of them.
Okay, so as always, before we get into the episode, overall 30,000 foot view, just like they do in Star Search. Give me a number of stars on what you rate this episode. Ooh. I'm going to go with 4.25.
Okay.
Obviously, this is 1 to 5 stars. So just heads up in case you're not there yet.
I'm gonna follow you up with 4 stars.
I'm giving it 5. I fucking loved this one.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
I loved it. At least for the season. I might be like premature, but for the season, this was my favorite episode so far.
I think that might be smart. Reserve judgment until we get a couple more episodes in and see if it gets better or worse. Tony, what do you got?
So, Corrina, we're at 4?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go 3.95 just because I know how much you guys enjoyed it. There's only one small piece that I don't enjoy, but I feel like I have to be slightly below you. So not necessarily that I didn't enjoy it, but I know that you guys like loved it, and there's just like this tiny little thing that I didn't jive with, so I have to give it like 3.95 because I have to be slightly below whatever your number is.
Look, I'm going to leave it at 4.25 with the option to move it up later. It won't get any lower for me, but I got to see how like the next 9 to 10 episodes roll out.
Yeah.
And if any of those are better, then keep it where it's at. But if those aren't better, then it's going up to at least a 4.5.
Yeah.
To me, this episode had everything that everybody loves about the challenge.
Yeah.
Had a very entertaining daily that looked fun as a viewer to do.
Yes.
And not so overtly difficult that you couldn't complete it.
Right.
On top of that, it had great house interaction. It had a little bit of drama. TJ put people on the fucking spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you know,
had a blind side,
pure sabotage. And it's everything we haven't gotten in the last couple seasons with the Vacation Alliance. And I like most of the Vacation Alliance, but it's just a nice change of pace. And it's what makes the challenge what I think we all love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. I'm glad everyone agrees. Let me be the sounding board. You don't even need buttons. Just push me on my shoulder.
I know, right?
Anyways, so we're going to go ahead and get into this episode. And let's go ahead and start off with what we were talking about right away was the intro, them coming back after Kylan beating Huey in elimination last week. And we get the clock on the wall with the countdown saying 13 hours left. And Emanuel.
Hang on, really quick. I just want to confirm that clock hasn't always been there, has it?
No, it's been there, but it says the challenge in like blue lights.
I feel like they've shown like a couple clips of it like flickering every once in a while, like for us to see, but I don't know. Like, I wonder if it's actually doing that in the house.
I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't fucking crazy because I was like, wait a second, has that been there the whole time? Like,
no, because Melissa mentioned it.
Yeah, that she's been sitting there eating breakfast in front of it the whole time and just completely ignoring it. And that's the thing is, like, I wonder if they did any of the flickering of the actual time, like when the actual contestants were there. Yeah. But knowing production is probably when they were like out on a daily or some shit. They're like, okay, let's get some B-roll real quick.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. 100%.
So we get the 13 hours left, and then it cuts over to, who was it? Nurys, Jay, Asaf, talking about throwing James in if a Merc comes for chaos. So I found it really interesting that they were already kind of on that scent of like they're going to bring someone in.
Yeah, they were already thinking, and I loved it because I was talking about that last week. I was like, are they just like expecting that the game will just be this format for the rest of the season, or are they thinking that about the possibility that it's going to change? And so it was nice to see that there are people in the house that are aware that 9 out of 10 times the format is going to change at some point.
Based off those conversations, I'm really interested to see if Asaf and Corey actually talked that much, or if production had to like scour the footage to get conversation of the two of them talking. Granted, they were talking about the chaos piece, but that's really the first interaction that we've seen, other than they're usually both in the room when the big conversations are taking place. But I've not actually seen like James and Corey later where they're sitting out talking, or like Ciarran and James or people like that. I've not seen like a one-on-one conversation with Corey and Asaf.
Well, and here's my thing is like, I remember last week there was like either last week or the week before, there was a confession by Asaf where he mentioned like Corey's like my best friend in this house. And so that leads me to believe that,
which is odd because Jay is in the house. I was like, what?
They're also playing down their relationship too, because like Jay even said like nobody knows how tight we are.
Yeah.
Which is weird because if anyone watches social media, they'll see he hangs out with Asaf often. Weekly, but even Corey said, like, I didn't know they were that close, and I'm working with Jay and Michelle nonstop. So, which comes in later. They, in this conversation, I found it interesting that they were even thinking, well, what happens if we get set up in pairs? Like, should we try to pair up with someone we're not working with, and blah, 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 blah.
Nurys had a good point, though.
She did.
That was very smart of her,
I just thought it was interesting that they made the comment that Ciarran was already saying that he wanted to partner with Nurys.
Well, I mean, to me, like outside of maybe 2 other girls on this season, I think Nurys is like all around one of the strongest competitors. Like, I mean, her swimming isn't great, but she's endurance, puzzles, strength. She's a smaller girl, but she's got a lot of heart and she won't stop. But
And she's so political. Like I feel like she's been doing really good politically.
Oh yeah,
on her own this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Her social gameplay is phenomenal this season, and I mean the fact that she's got a really pretty face as well. That makes the challenge production want to put her out there more and more, and it makes TV, sense. And not to say she's not deserving of it. And it's because she has a pretty face. It just adds to the total package of her gameplay.
Yeah.
But they brought up some really good points. But I did like that Jay said that they shouldn't be doing that because
he didn't want her to pair with Ciarran because
what happens if both partners go in and you're stuck with Ciarran? Now we have to throw you both in. I can't vote for you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean? And he made a good point because he was like, Ciarran's one of the strongest people in the house. And, he's definitely not somebody I want to go to a final with. So I don't want to get put in a position where it comes down to like, I can't vote him in because your partner's with him, So I thought that was really smart of Jay to like think that all the way through of like, he's already thinking about who he would want to run the final with and how that could potentially affect like this change of format in this chaos section. So major props to him. I definitely think that like you can see like little lessons that he's learned before. Like he's reacting to certain situations different. And it's just like, it's cool to see that like growth in the gameplay.
Well, we had the conversation last week and I asked you guys and I asked the audience as well, like, is Nurys like becoming the face? Is she the central character in this? And then, I've seen some of the responses that have come back and people that have DM'd us. And a lot of people are saying yes, but Jay and Michelle and maybe Corey too. Yeah. And like, I think that's actually extremely valid. Like they do seem like the main four. You know?
As far as women, the three that were named the most was Nurys, Michelle, and Olivia.
Yeah.
Which I completely agree with. Like, I think literally any three of them could become like you said, the central character, the face of the show or of a season, or,
you know, whatever. Be the winner, perhaps. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think all three of them are capable of winning a final.
And they're all getting that edit. They're getting that kind of winner's edit that we all see. But based on what we saw in USA 2, the winner's edit doesn't go to anything. The winner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very true. That's very true.
So, but anyways, just wanted to bring that out. I do like the fact that they got right into the daily, that we didn't spend a lot of time in the house. And especially after that 2.5 hour marathon last week, to get through into a daily so quick and know that's the only daily, I was like, fuck yes, challenge. Let's go.
It was one episode because I was so convinced that we had another double episode this week. So it was so nice to only have one.
I have no idea. I don't remember who told me that these 2 weeks were both double episodes.
I heard it from a couple of people, though.
Whoever told me that, you were wrong. And I'm very happy you were wrong.
I didn't watch it on Wednesday. Because we watched Survivor. And then I am still getting over being sick. And I was like, there's no way that I am staying up for 2 episodes of the challenge after being up and to watch Survivor. Like, I need to go to bed. And then we watched it on Thursday and I was like, oh, it was just one. I could have stayed up and watched it. But instead I just avoided social media because every time I was like, I want to see what people are talking about Survivor, I was like, shit, I didn't watch the challenge.
Yeah, that's a downside of it. We do it every week.
Yeah, because we don't watch till Thursday.
Yeah, and I'll tell you off podcast what happened Wednesday. It was a fun night. Anyways, getting back to the show, we get into the daily, which is called Upside Down World.
So good.
And
so good.
At this point, TJ announces that we have now reached the chaos portion of this season. And with the chaos portion, does he go into a full description now?
Yes,
I forget.
So I know I know you got up and you went to go get us some snackies.
Yeah, it was snack time.
We had to eat snacks so we could judge all these other people's physical performance.
Yeah, that's how it works.
I'll see my face with Tootsie Rolls from Halloween.
Yeah, like that's a requirement, right? Like,
of course.
So anyway, so TJ explains that in this this level, chaos level, level 2,
dose
that
the Ocho. Sorry.
TJ explains that the format of the game is going to change. So it's going to be like free agents where, one daily you might be partners or you might be in a team or you might be playing individually or, whatever. And so I freaking love this because that was one of my favorite seasons as free agents. Like, I think that's one of the best seasons ever. And I loved the constant change to the format like that and the dynamic that it created in the house, because especially when these, like, if you are put in a partnership and you either have to choose, like both ways, whether you have to choose or you're put randomly, like I feel like either direction brings like different types of drama. Like if you're forced to choose, obviously it shows your cards with certain people, especially if you're like one of those people that plays down the middle. But I really also enjoy like when they get thrown into random pairings, which obviously is what happened with this one. TJ just random paired them. And I don't know. It got me so freaking excited.
Oh, yeah. So what did you guys think? Did you like this announcement of how they're going to run dailies? Like it might be multiple different things. Okay. So we're all in agreement on that?
Yes.
100%. And like you said, free agents is one of it's top 2, top 3 all time for me. So any type of replication of that, I'm like, fuck yes, let's go.
Yeah. Well, when it happened and when he announced it, I just like threw my arms in the air and yelled free agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and obviously for the audience, let us know what you think. Are you guys into this portion of the season?
And where
the
do
chaos section?
And where do you rate free agents? I have to know that. Like, I really want to know.
Yeah.
And I'll put something up, like a poll on our Instagram. I want to know where you guys rate free agents. So give that a thought, and then come vote on what
The poll's going to be: is free agents the best season? Yes or yes?
Yes.
yes in red,
Yes or
yes in blue.
Yes. That's what it is.
Or please discount my opinion.
Yeah.
So, anyways, getting into this daily upside down world, and that is world, not like the world. Sorry, I know they sound the same, even though they're spelled different. I'm not
That's
great
the
at
point
enunciation.
That's the point of the title.
Yes or Wes.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, they are going to be strapped to these long poles that rotate around in a circle, and it's going to be placed on the middle of a fucking double-decker semi. If that description doesn't work for you, go watch the episode. Jinx.
You know what this reminded me of when I saw it, though?
What?
You know the at like the fair and stuff, the zipper?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that reminded
That's
me
what
of.
I thought of immediately. I was
Okay.
like, well, this is why I can't do the challenge, because I can't even do that. So
Last time I went on the zipper, a quarter fell out of my pocket and it went down the bottom of it and came back and smoked me in the forehead.
Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious, bro.
Okay,
Oh
I
my
was
God.
like, I have to admit, it was hilarious. It hurt when it happened because it was like mid spin, so it like shot right down and came right back and smoked me right here. And I had like a slight dent when I got off. I was like, well, it was worth it just for the story alone.
That's absolutely incredible.
funny now.
Last time I went on the zipper, I got into it and I realized instantly that it was a mistake, because last time I had been in the zipper, I was like 13 and now I'm 6'1", and I was like, my whole body is just rested against this cage. Like my hips are cramping up. And then I looked up on that head pad for yourself so you don't fucking gash your head.
Yeah.
And someone had written the word penis there.
Nice.
And I was like, well, that's nice.
Nice.
And I took a photo of it. I was like, penis.
Oh my God.
I'm a 13-year-old kid at heart. What can I say? Anyways, back to the show. Enough of the zipper. Come for the after show to hear more about our carnival tales. TJ announces, like Corrina said, that it's going to be random pairings. And some of these pairings are pretty fucking interesting. In my opinion.
Yeah, like they had some good pairings. I didn't write them all down because I have a feeling that I just had a feeling that the pairings weren't going to carry any further than just that daily.
Most are of zero consequence.
Yeah.
Like, but I did like the idea of seeing Nurys and James paired together. I thought that was an interesting one. Emanuel and Berna paired together. I was like, oh shit, this is going to be great because they have rapport with each other. They're going to work great on this.
Yeah.
Not so much.
It was honestly like the people that I thought would do really, really well in the daily were the ones that like didn't do as well. Like, you know, they struggled with it.
One of my favorite lines of the night was Jay saying Corey with go gadget arm.
Yep.
Yes.
I didn't think he was going to do as good as he did, like not to knock him down, but like I thought he was going to be like middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like Ed did really well too. And like,
Yeah.
not even that I didn't think Ed could do it, because like Ed is smart, but Ed's like,
he's just a shorter guy compared to everyone else.
yeah, he's compact. So I wasn't sure how well he would be able to do at getting the rings, but also being at a position where he could effectively throw them, because he's not a super tall dude. So it's one thing to be able to get the rings, and it's another thing to know when to drop them, but to be able to drop them in a way that they'll actually land where you need to, something altogether different.
Well, I'm sorry. No, please go ahead.
I was going to just say the only one that was counter to like people I thought were going to do good and didn't was James and Nurys. I was like, oh, he's super tall. He's going to be good at this. And Nurys is pretty fucking smart and she can figure things out. And they didn't get it right away, but towards the end, they started really doing well.
Yeah.
But Corey Lay just smoked it with that one shot. He landed like half the fucking rings in one go. Yeah. It was impressive.
Well, and that was what I was actually going to ask you guys, because obviously, you know, like you said, we saw Corey just grab like a big old chunk of rings and he dropped them right on a pole. And he got like freaking like 8 rings in one go. which, really helped them out. With that being said, we also saw other people try that approach. Sorry, I lost train of thought, and then I got it, and then I got it back on.
That's my line.
We saw other people try to take that same approach, and it did not work out as well for them as it did for Corey. So my question is, what do you guys think is the better strategic approach? Is it to grab a big handful and just freaking shoot for the stars? Or is it more like what James did, where he was only taking like one or two? He was very meticulous, but he was learning to time them right and ensuring that if he threw one, it was going to score a point. I really don't know like what strategy would be better. Like, I feel like the grabbing a big handful and just kind of tossing them and hoping kind of thing worked out really well for Corey, because he is so like tall and he's got the long arms. So he was able to get a lot closer to those poles than a lot of the other people were. So, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I feel if you can time it, like if it's smart to do the James approach in the beginning, because obviously you can't get them back. So if you do it once or twice to get the hang of it, and especially if you can time it so that your one that you're actually trying to go for all the marbles is one of the ones with the yellow pad, where you get the 5 points if it lands on that, the 10 points if it lands on the pole. That's when you take your big group. After you've kind of like lined up your shot, then you take your bigger shot on those ones, because then what seemed to be happening is when you take a big bunch and you aimed for the pole, if you didn't get it on the pole, you got it like very closely around the pole. So to me, that would mean that it would be either a 5 point or a 10 point, no matter where they landed, versus the ones where a lot of them threw the larger portions just on like a straight pole without any of the base around it for the extra points.
Right. Yeah, that's smart. That makes sense.
And they were running out of like some of the people who were grabbing multiples, they were running out before they got to the end. And then they're like, well, shit, now what?
Well, and that was what happened with Emanuel and Berna, right? Because she said she only threw like one or two rings, and Emanuel like grabbed all of them like in one, and then just threw them, and then they were gone and they had no more. Like, what the hell were you thinking, Emanuel? I love you, but what were you thinking?
You already know, like, I'm super OCD and I overthink everything. You know this.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually curious to see, because you and I didn't even talk about this. And so I'm curious to see what your answer is.
Like, because I thought about this like the same way I think about if I could beat a mountain lion in like a wrestling match. So I put a lot of thought into this, and so what my conclusion that I came to on this was that, like, if me and you were on there, I would say, hey, on the first go, I'm going to grab half the rings, and then whatever you grab is yours. Yeah. And the reason I am saying that is because if you watched, the turns of where they were coming around and where the pole wasn't the same for every person.
No. Right.
So there is a certain element of timing, right?
Yes.
So I want to have all of those rings, so that way when the timing is right, I'm ready to go.
And that was my thing, is that I would want to grab as many rings as possible, but I'm not going to throw them all in one go. I want them on my arms so that they're ready as soon as I have that perfect shot to drop it on there.
And that's what, I don't know if that's what Corey's plan was. Like, I haven't talked to him about it or anything, but that was what he did. He came on where the pole was right there and he was swinging up, and it was a simple reach instead of trying to drop it and account for everything else.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's how I would have approached it.
Was a pretty gangster move, though.
I mean, it really was. And TJ, I mean, like, it was such a good move that TJ fucking said at the end, like, you guys beat everybody by a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a fucking lot.
Yeah. He said like head and shoulders above everybody else or something like that. But what did you think about like this daily overall? Like, did you like this actual daily?
Yes, I liked it because it was challenging, yet not so fucking overcomplicated that I felt like I had to take notes and like a web graph to fucking understand what was going on.
No time limit.
I did like the no time limit thing. And I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they I don't know. I'm like, who comes up with this random shit? Like, where did this, but I don't know. Maybe it was fun for them. Big T got over her heights fear apparently while on the spitting zipper thing. So props to her. Happy for her. Hopefully it lasts. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the actual daily. I don't hate it, but I'm also not oh, I want to see this one again. I don't know.
To me, it's a good daily because it reminds me of the one they did on War of the Worlds 1 with Paulie and all them where they're on the truck and they're going back and forth trying to exchange. One. And it's similar. It's just a different dynamic. I mean, I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot more than them fucking holding on to cars that are doing donuts and trying to remember math problems. And
I'm it also reminded me of on Worlds when they did the whole thing where you toss the rings and then the other person threw them in the bin or whatever when they were on the whirly things. So they just took it to a different angle.
Yeah, that was the first thing I said when we were watching it was, I was like, oh, it reminds me of the one and then Jordan caught the one on his foot and fucking threw it in like a gangster, like a G.
The only way I think they could have improved this is, you're in pairs, but you get attached with somebody else on a different team. Yep. And it's a competing
you have to score on there.
Half of the rings are red, half of the rings are blue. You only get, I think that would have made it a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah.
Between the trucks on USA too.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that, where it adds a competition level. Who's getting the most out of this round? And then it's a combined score of you and your teammate who win in the later round. That's the only thing I can really think that would have made this actual daily a little bit better. But that's going pretty, I don't know. I'm off track anyways. Thank you. Transitions, what we do at the podcast.
So Corey and Ravyn end up winning this one. And TJ surprises them by telling them that he's going to give them some additional power and that as the sole winners, they are to select one man to go directly into the elimination.
Yeah.
And then he says that
they're the most connected and the least trusted.
And then he says that, they're the only safe pair. So everybody else is up. So. And
then he says it's going to be a male's elimination. So you have to pick a man.
He does not say that. He just says you need to pick a male. Yeah. So Corey wants Ciarran to go into elimination. Ravyn wants Emanuel. And they sit there and they argue about this for God knows how long. I literally feel like from when they started talking to the scene where TJ was like, okay, let's go. It was all of a sudden dark. Okay, so how long were y'all out there just fighting over who to send in?
Well, and the Corey's list of 3 that he wasn't going to say, Emanuel makes sense. They were on a season together. Jay makes sense. They're in an alliance. Where did Callum come from?
I don't know.
Why isn't James your dude? Because they had a conversation later where they were super tight. But then, because initially I wrote in my notes, why is James not the easy vote to say? And then he said Callum, which I didn't understand. But then later I had to go back and change my notes because they had a heart-to-heart, Corey and James, and then they were thick as thieves. But I still don't know that Callum and Corey have even spoke to each other as far as what we've seen.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's weird because it's also we know from the edit, obviously, that Corey is kind of towing the line in the middle of the UK and the USA alliance. But after watching this episode, it becomes clear that it's not even towing the line. It's very apparent to a lot of the people on the USA alliance that he's with some people. So it's we're not seeing everything between Corey and the UK alliance. I feel like we're seeing very, very little.
I just don't get me wrong. I respect what Corey did as far as his choice, and I respect him standing up for the people he would and would not vote for.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is I give him the benefit of the doubt because this is really his first true season. He didn't get any further than 4 episodes. So he's already further than he's ever been.
Right.
He's won a daily. And then he gets put in this position. And what I would have done is I would have got kind of loud with Ravyn in the deliberation between those two and said, what do you mean we can't pick Ciarran? We're in this alliance. And I would have put it on her.
Yeah.
And that way everybody out there knows it's her trying to save his ass again.
Yeah.
When the house wants to go.
That's interesting.
But that's also me looking at it. And the situation could have been completely different. But that's just what I'm thinking.
And it was also kind of clear that Ravyn, it seems like it's clear in the house that Ravyn and Ciarran are tight, so that as soon as Ravyn won, Ciarran wasn't really gonna be the name.
Right. Yeah, but it's still a conflict of interest, you know.
100%. And like the James, like, yeah, that's why I thought James would be the, like, why I initially thought James would be the absolute logical vote, because he's not Ciarran. He's not the names that Corey said. And again, like, I like Corey, and no shade to Corey. Like you said, this is the furthest that he's been in the game. He's getting thrown an absolute wrench to try to figure out in front of everybody with somebody that is already kind of like in and out of the alliance that he's in. So it's sort of a no-win, but I would have thought that James would be the easy vote until that conversation later.
Right.
Yeah, and because of the edit, we don't know when that conversation actually took place. It could have taken place, you know, at a different point, because last week
Spies lies.
Well, it could have taken place last week because Corey's name was getting brought up by Zara.
Yeah.
You know, so it very could have been either way. But anyways, they decide that they're gonna nominate Asaf, and the fucking house is just moment of silence and a gas right there.
Asaf is
pissed, and
he is livid.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you little weasel.
Yeah.
I called him a little weasel.
Talking about it, he was my best friend. And Corey's like, I've known you 2 weeks.
Yeah, like,
here's the thing though. That comment right there is going to bite him in the ass, because that then calls every single relationship he has made in the house into question, because equally he has only known any of those people for 2 weeks, like James or like Callum. So if he's going to throw in Asaf, who is supposedly in his alliance, with the claim of, I've only known you for 2 weeks, then James or Zara or Callum or anybody new that he hasn't played with before, their relationship is only as valid as relationship with Asaf.
Even Olivia had made a comment at some point too, where she was like, oh, he's made me these promises too. Like, should I be questioning him now?
Right.
It's a mess.
Very messy.
So here's my thing is, I think that the comment's valid in this situation because of what Asaf was saying, right? Asaf was really going hard, like super going hard. And what's Corey supposed to do? Just said, dude, I've known you for 2 fucking weeks and I'm supposed to save you when you haven't done anything. You're not really doing anything for me. You're like, we talk in the house. Cool.
I honestly see it. Look, and do I think that it could potentially come back to bite him in the ass, like make people upset to where they want to, but at the same time, like, people are already targeting him anyway.
Yep.
And it's not like Corey's an easy person to take out. Exactly. You know what I mean? So they still got to take him out. They still got to get him. So I don't know. I'm not upset at Corey at this. No. I don't see it any different than, you know, the whole Jay, Jack thing when, you know, Jay said the exact same shit to him. Like, it just, that stuff doesn't bother me. And I don't really see, I get Asaf his feelings are hurt. I know that he expected something different, but at the same time, my brain cannot wrap itself around these like freak out tantrums over people playing the game. I don't get it.
Because it's isolation in the house with only these people to interact with, and every like relationship or anything like that is likely just amped up. So even if he maybe only had like, and I'm not saying that he had, but if he only had a couple conversations with Corey, but like he felt like they really connected, and then where he pushed for, was it last week when he pushed for Huey to save Corey or whatever the situation was, like then he kind of, that gets built up. So everything adds on to being like, he's my bestie in this house, which, and again, I get what you're saying as well. Like where you could know somebody for like a week and all of a sudden, like you're tethered to them because they didn't say your name once. And then you guys shared Fruit Loops on Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say people have their own realities, right? Because you see it with Asaf, because he's like, I was the only person fighting to save Corey last week, blah, 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 whatever. But then, fast forward, we get a similar moment between Michelle and Corey, and Michelle's confessional where she's like, I had so many conversations to save Corey. Like I was going to bat for him all last week, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, in Asaf's world, he was the only person fighting for Corey, but like we seeing all this other stuff. So like, but that's my thing is just thinking that I don't know. I just couldn't imagine being in a house thinking that I know everything that's going on. And I feel like that's how this situation was approached, because it's like, he took the situation so personal. And like I said, I feel bad for him. I know his feelings are probably hurt. I don't feel bad for him. I feel bad that his feelings are hurt, but it's a game.
Yeah. So here's what I'm trying to, and this will be the last thing I say about this is I understand and I completely get why Asaf is so pissed off and feels this deceit. And I feel like he should feel that way. It's justified. But I feel like Corey making this move is just as well justified as the fact comes down to there is one winner. There isn't two winners. And Asaf, we're brothers, so that means when we get to the final, you're going to let me win?
Yeah. No, doubt it.
If you're not going to let me win, then I got to do what I got to do to get to the fucking end.
Yeah.
Point blank. But those aren't real conversations that happen in the challenge house because they're not entertaining, because it ends the conversation.
Exactly.
Where we get a lot more messy going on, and that's what I really like. So after the daily, we get the whole shot because this continues, and TJ announces the fact that the whole house is going to deliberate to see who's going to go in to face Asaf. Corey and Ravyn can be there and give their input, but their vote doesn't count.
Right.
And then where it usually cuts and we get a house scene, it cuts and goes to the parking lot where all there's productions trucks
and shit. God, yeah.
And they're still going at it.
Yeah.
And I was like, for people saying that, they're cutting the drama out, they gave you a shot that broke the fucking illusion of television and showed you behind the scenes to show you the drama. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
Point blank.
Exactly.
And this is game drama, so I'm for it as well.
Yeah, and this might not be, the drama that they're looking for, but it's still drama nonetheless. Like, I'm sorry, it's not someone throwing a wine glass at somebody else. This is better.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
This is the drama that I love.
Yes.
This is the challenge.
Exactly. Competitive drama. This is what I love. Yes. This is what I love to see.
So anyways, after this, we get back to the house. And in the house, Asaf continues yelling at Corey and says that he's the only one that stood up and saved Corey. And they finally kind of get it settled down. And you know what happens? We get my favorite part of the show, the fucking club scene. Let's go. And Tony, I don't want to hear the blasphemy because the last few club scenes have actually been good.
They were.
And they've had game content interlaced in the fun times.
Yeah.
I still hate the club scene, but.
Well, I hate Survivor. I don't hate Survivor. I felt hurt, so I had to say something.
That's fine.
So let me ask you guys a question. Because I get this, we get messaged about this every friggin' week on Instagram, or it's in a comment, or it's in the Facebook groups, or just whatever. How do you guys feel about, and obviously they started doing this during COVID and they just have not stopped. How do you guys feel about these clubs that aren't actually clubs? They're just set up by production, or do you guys prefer them to go to an actual club, actual bar like they used to?
Johnny Bananas is less likely to get punched down the stairs.
Exactly.
Jesus.
Oh, I can't lie. I do miss the old, actually letting them go out amongst the people.
Yeah.
I do. It's just not the same.
I agree. It was always funny to watch them meet strange people, strangers. Yes. There was a couple seasons where people brought strangers home back to the freaking challenge house with them, or the real world house, or whatever, So yeah, I don't know. I miss the these bar setup, whatever you guys want to call them. I don't even know, but these fake bar setup things, they don't bother me, but I do miss them going to actual clubs and bars.
I want to change a venue. I don't care that there's nobody there.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. But change the venue once or like alternate, because they had like, you've got this one that has been used for so long that I remember Emmy performing on the stage there. Like, and then also you have, what was it? It was, I think it might have been USA, where they had like the bar, like the proper bar. That like, I would love to see them alternate between those two locations, because either way, it doesn't seem like there's anybody there except for them. So just mix it up, because every time that they go to the club, it's the same club and there's no one there and it's just them. So they could really just stay home. But if you interlace the two, then at least it's a change of location, because for the club, you have everybody dancing and like you have the side conversations. But at the bar, you have all the different tables and who's at each table and what are they talking about and everything like that. And that just who's sitting with who can further that those conversations a lot more than if everybody's up dancing, because then it's only the people who aren't dancing that are actually talking.
Yeah, no. And here's my thing is, I'm indifferent to whether people are there or not. I understand why they've phased that out, because there's too much of a variable of stuff that can happen that they can't control. Be a la Johnny Bananas getting punched down a fucking set of stairs.
Fun to watch.
But I do miss the fact of like CT freaking out, like having to pay a huge bill because nobody brought money with them. So that added a different dynamic. I like the fact that it creates the illusion, not only for the viewer to a degree, but to the cast as well, that they are not in the house. Right. And they're having fun and they're having a drink and more likely to get a little bit loose and messy with their gameplay.
Right.
Oh, I thought of something that I saw on Instagram. I don't remember what clip you posted, Corrina, but somebody had brought up that we don't get bus scenes anymore. It was after the shit we should have shown real. But somebody had commented, like, where are our bus scenes?
Yes.
Those two. Yes, those were fun.
Yeah, like the last one that I actually remember is the CT Hunter one. Yeah. On Invasions, when Hunter was like, who can beat me? Who can beat me? And CT's in the back like... Which, facts, CT, facts. I almost said Chris, and I had the... people always yell at me when they're like, who, Chris, what, who? I'm like...
That is his name.
It is, and he told us that's what he prefers. So fuck y'all. I don't even care. It's Chris. That's what we're doing.
So
moving on.
There were really just two more things that I wanted to talk about the club scene, because this has kind of replaced the house scene after the daily, which I don't mind. And what we see is the fact that Asaf is talking with most of the American men, talking about, and they're asking him who he wants and all of this. And he says, I want the biggest and the strongest and the fastest and the smartest and the bionic man. He asked for Ciarran. It's basically who he wants. He's got Goku syndrome. And I'm not mad about it, but if you're playing for money for your family, play smart. Don't try to...
But who would he call out?
Yeah, it's easier to go big and say, without saying a name at that point, to say, I want the biggest, the baddest, the strongest, because then you're leaving it up to whoever you're talking to for what they think is the biggest, the baddest, the strongest. And you're not actually throwing a name out there. My favorite, though, was Horacio. When he was talking to him, because he's the one who said, like, I want the biggest, the baddest, the strongest. And you could see Horacio's face, and it was like, but that's me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Horacio would fucking murder
anybody in the house.
I like Asaf, but Horacio would work him.
So to me, it's once again, just like you said about Corey when they had to nominate a guy, the clear answer is James. Yep. Because from what we've seen, there is going to be some type of endurance in almost every fucking elimination. And James has proven that he does not have it. In fact, I might not want to put James into an elimination because I want that motherfucker in the final with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At least you know he's coming in last.
But with that being said, if you would have said James, with us knowing what the elimination is, Asaf would have smoked him.
Ooh. Yeah, but he wasn't going again. He wasn't.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
But yes, if they went against each other.
No, but based on what they thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other big thing is we have Michelle and Corey's conversation at the club scene, where Michelle confronts Corey about putting Asaf because she's connected to Asaf from the daily and chaos. You never know. You might be putting me and Asaf in. And she gets so fucking livid to the point where she's so pissed off at Corey for this supposed slight. And he's trying to explain that he had no thought of that. He
didn't even consider it. Like TJ said, pick a male. So he picked a male. Like he didn't even consider the possibility that their female partner could potentially go into the elimination with them as well. And she is livid. She's like, how could you not think of this through?
How could you do this to me?
Blah, blah, blah. As if she has never made a game mistake and like potentially screwed someone over or something like that. I'm just like, bro, like what? Like, oh my God.
It got to the point during the conversation. I looked at Corrina and I said, if I was Corey, I would look at her and say, and what happens if it's not and you're talking to me like this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
what then?
I understand where she's coming from with the fact that there is a chaos factor. She's also played more variations of the challenge than Corey has. Like we've said before, Corey was in 4 episodes of Spies Lies. Like Michelle's been on several seasons, including USA 2. So she's got the different vibes from the different things. So she can assume and she can predict and she can plan all that she wants. But what she can't do is she can't tell Corey what he thought in the situation. Like Corey didn't think about the fact that there was a potential female attached. He was told to pick a dude. He picked a dude because that's what TJ told him. So that's what he was going off of. And Michelle saying like, you can't tell me that you didn't think that you're not smart enough to play that through. And like, he hasn't been afforded the opportunity to be placed in a position where he could have that come up as a variable. And really neither is she, other than like watching the show before. So I understand, and I understand that she's freaked because we just started a new section of the game and nobody knows how it works. But like, you got to give Corey some grace. And I think everybody does.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing is this is indicative. Did I say that right?
Yep. So far.
I think so.
All right. I'm feeling good about myself.
Don't screw up the last half of the sentence though.
I'm going to try. But this is what Michelle does. It reminded me very much of the Laurel conversation in Ride or Dies, where she's like, I feel like there's this thing. And Laurel's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like she makes up these scenarios in her head of how the show's going to go.
She's paranoid.
And she's so fucking paranoid. And she lashed out. Yeah. That's what that was based on the edit.
Literally made Corey cry. I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? And then even as he's crying and he's like trying to apologize to her, she's still being a freaking bitch.
Yeah.
I was like, damn it, Michelle. Like, stop it.
And
like,
I like Michelle in this.
I love her.
Like this scene.
But yeah, this was not a good look. Like I said, I love Michelle, but this was just not a good look. I was like, girl, calm down, man. Like, just chill. I understand. And like you said, like, I understand where she's coming from. I understand why she's nervous. But at the same time, it's like, this is not helping you. And you never learn that. These blow-ups, these Michelle downs, these moments where you flip the fuck out on people who you're supposed to be working with and whatever, it doesn't help to flip out on them like that, you know?
Anyways, that's pretty much the end of the club scene, other than we get the intro of the Horacio and Nurys relationship.
Yeah.
And normally I don't give a shit about this, but I like both of them a lot. And Horacio's a fucking awesome guy.
Oh my God.
From the little bit of interactions we've had with him, you know, he's a humble guy. He's super cool from what we've gotten to know him.
Yeah.
And to see him find someone that we now know is this relationship's been going on for a while.
Yeah, like I'm not going to go into details or anything, but like we've talked to Nurys and like it's just like, oh my God, is literally so fucking cute. And they are so, it's hard for me to say in love because I don't even know if they've said that to each other yet, but they are so in love.
They are very smitten.
So, oh my God, it's so
He's so cute in his little interviews. He gets so bashful, and I think he even said it. But it's so cute.
Yeah, the fact that he was blushing about it. And look.
Yeah.
That's a hell of an introduction into a relationship, like getting a lap dance on television.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was into it. I was like, dude, you enjoyed that.
To be 100% honest, like, from Nurys, I think just about anybody would be into it. I would be into it. So I'm just saying, like, she's gorgeous.
Yeah. So. You can also see her at Target. She's a model for them as well. So enjoy. The next thing we get is once again, Ravyn associated with the enemy. What are you doing, Ravyn? She's sitting there with Ciarran. Colleen's not really the enemy, but with Ciarran, she knows what's going on. She knows what's going to happen. And she's talking about how Horacio should have
been the one that was sent in. Like, I was like, hold the fucking phone. Are they going to try to get Horacio as the main, like, house nomination? Like, what?
I mean, why? He's coming back.
Yeah. Like, why? What?
What I found more interesting.
This was really,
is the fact that to prove her point, she's talking about all the people that Horacio has beaten. And one of the names she brings up is Jordan. And she talks about how Jordan is a fucking GOAT.
Yeah.
And Horacio beat him in one of the quintessential challenge eliminations last season. And Ciarran has no fucking clue who Jordan is. And I'm sorry.
It's like, I never heard of him.
Do your research before you come on this show. Please.
Why don't people... I get so frustrated when there are new cast members that have not watched anything.
Yes.
How? Just, I'm sorry.
Watch something. Watch highlights. Go through some fan pages online. Like, you don't have to sit and watch all 8 seasons.
No, yeah, but watch a highlight reel, something.
Read some articles. Do something.
Literally go to Wikipedia and read the synopsis of the season. That's all you got to do. And then look at the winner.
Yeah. Like, it's just So anyway.
And my gripe against that is I wouldn't care if he didn't know who, Hunter is, or if he didn't know who Corey Wharton is.
Yes.
But the fact that you don't know a top 5 player in the game you're playing, I don't know. Maybe it's me being a bougie challenge fan. It's like, you don't know Jordan?
Yeah, what? Why are you here?
Unless they were told that it was a non-winner's season.
Yeah, I mean, but they wouldn't. Supposedly, they're not given that information.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The next scene that we get is the conversation between James and Corey. It kind of ties in the reason why we see Corey didn't put in James.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to be honest. Not my favorite competitor. But as far as watching him on the show, I'm actually really enjoying James a lot. I'm enjoying the conversation. He comes off as a very genuine guy. Thank God for closed caption. For whatever reason, I can't get his accent down.
Yeah.
Ciarran, not a problem. Zara, not a problem. Huey and James.
I struggle with Cal. I think it's Callum a little bit.
Oh, no, Callum I got all day.
Callum, it's just a few words. I'm like, what?
But anyways, I really like James, and he kind of assures Corey, like, no, dude, you're playing the game. You're doing this the right way. You're a genuine guy.
Yeah.
And because Corey's having that moment of weakness, like, dude, did I just fuck my whole game because I got into power once?
Yeah.
And it's an understandable feeling,
Well, and he's worried now because, he made this move and now half of his alliance won't even talk to him, let alone the, other half that don't even, that he doesn't work with. So, I get why he's getting a little nervous and a little, shaky in this moment, but.
Yeah. So it was nice to see Corey building a bridge after seemingly losing a lot of bridges because of something that might happen that we don't know is going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But one thing we do know is going to happen is this ad from Spotify for podcasters. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for sticking through that ad. And we're still here too. What a coinkydink.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, where we left off was James and Corey having that conversation. The next thing we get into, which is going to be the nominations of who's Asaf going against.
Yep.
So we get the obligatory fucking everybody walking down the stairs to get there. Can I just say this? I don't like where they're doing the deliberations
outside. Yeah.
Where everybody's not facing everybody. Some people have to like look behind them. Once I don't like it. Let's take it inside to a big table.
It's set up for camera, not for conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Not a fan of it.
I liked the one, and actually there was quite a few that were set up like this, but like Rivals 2 was set up like this. And I think even, what was the one where they fucked with Jen?
Total Madness.
Total Madness.
Yeah.
Where it's like almost like a rectangle setup, you know, with like the benches.
Yes, like 2 big couches.
Yeah, so they're like each other,
but at least those were long enough where everybody could still sit and talk to each other.
That's what I mean. Like I like that setup. I don't like this weird where everybody's sitting in like a
patio furniture
and they're like sitting behind each other. I don't like that. I like them in the long benches that like face each other. And
honestly, bring back War of the Worlds 2 where they all have to sit on their knees at a little table and the winners are up at the top. That's what I want.
That's funny. We get into the nomination ceremony, and you know it starts off with them asking Asaf who he wants to go against, and of course he's not very particular, just that he would like to go against the biggest guy. But he spits out, but whatever you do, don't trust Corey.
Dude, get fucking over it.
I'm like, bro. And then he proceeds to go around and start asking all of the other men there if they think they're closer to Corey than he is. And I'm like, I was very, very confused by this part. I didn't understand like what he was trying to, like what goal what was he trying to achieve with it?
Corey had said that the reason that he voted Asaf was because he was the least close to him out of the male competitors. So Asaf was essentially going around and being like, are you closer with Corey than me? And eventually assuming that he would get a no. Horacio always gets stuck in the middle of these things.
He does.
He's the one who wants the least to do with the drama. And he's the one, like when Chauncey turned around, he's like, have I ever been not truthful to you? And like, I mean, like, I hate to say this, but And then again, like, are you closer with Corey than me? He's like, I'm just here to play, man.
He's like, come on, guys.
My thing is like, how is everybody else supposed to know how close him and Corey are? It was just a what?
Here's my thing is the question is like, who's closer? Like, bro, I'm not going to fucking announce that because I'm not going to put my cards on the table when I'm not the one up for fucking nomination.
That too. Like what?
James, I don't see how this is relevant.
Yeah. And props to Ravyn because she tries to cut off and she's like, it was a dual decision. We both decided on you, which props to her for saying that. And then Nurys jumps in and takes the opportunity to actually get the nominations going, talking about, well, are we going to consider this that pairs could go in, bringing up Michelle's earlier point?
Right.
And then we get into the debate that we've already had about this, whether it is or it isn't.
Yeah. And they all pretty much decide to just vote based on what TJ said, which was to pick a male. And I think that was obviously the best, decision.
Because that's what TJ asked.
Yeah, exactly. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. Chaos section. There's a possibility that TJ's going to, switch shit up and throw in this twist to where you're competing in elimination as pairs as well. But just with the fact that he said that it was going to be like, that it was kind of set up like free agents and, it was just, I was like, I don't see them competing in elimination as pairs, especially because they're not going to stay pairs.
At least maybe not this time. Maybe, I mean, not to get ahead of it, but maybe that's what the third option, it could.
Dealer's choice.
Maybe there's, words are hard.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing is like, they don't know how long this chaos section is going to last, but we do, looking at it from just knowing the cast, that there's 10 mercenaries. So more than likely, we're going to get at max 10 episodes of chaos. Mercenary eliminations. So it wouldn't make sense to do a male female because then they're cutting their season run time in half. And traditional flagship seasons now go for about 20 episodes.
Right.
Well, there's only 24 contestants.
Yeah.
I feel like they're not going to double up this early. If they're going to double up, it's going to be later down the line.
Yeah, I agree.
Or we're going to get a cliffhanger episode eventually, because I really thought it was going to be this one. I'm not mad that it wasn't. I'm very happy it wasn't. But
yes, because we said that last week.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, we were wrong. We totally thought.
I'm so glad we were wrong. I'm so glad.
Yeah, same. But we were so convinced that it was going to be a cliffhanger this week, that they were going to bring Jordan out or whatever mercenary out. I think I said that. Well, I wasn't convinced it would be CT, but I said it would be cool if it would be. But
I'm losing my to be continued powers.
Good.
Yeah,
because I was pretty much spot on before
Yeah,
that.
stuck on a trend.
Yeah, hocus pocus.
right.
But
oh my gosh,
I did think it was funny that Asaf was like, well, I want to go against Ciarran now. So do you want to come down here and do this, brother? And Ciarran's, congratulations on not making a rookie move and just being quiet and being like, no, bro, I don't.
Not at first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Props to him.
Asaf is totally, this is where we don't want to call him it. As Corrina says, I'm doing air bunnies rookie because these are Asaf's. Well, I guess he played
one episode.
He went home first. Yeah. So, but then he's talking to TJ about how when I'm home, all I think about is the challenge. Are you? What are you thinking about?
Well, and that's the thing is like it's the same argument that I had for Michaela in Worlds, or not Worlds, but USA 2, is that she was a rookie. She literally did one episode. Right. That does not make you a vet. I don't care. And even in sports, if you get hurt in the first game and you miss the rest of the season, you're still a rookie your next season.
Right.
You know what I mean? But with that being said, playing like a rookie, and look, it's cool to have the Goku mentality in life and try to tackle the biggest obstacles you can and prove it to yourself. In the challenge house, that's not the business.
Right.
That's going to get you fucking sent out the door real quick with no money.
Absolutely.
And
if your goal is to go home, keep doing it.
Look,
exactly.
I can understand if you want to go against the toughest in the final and prove you can win.
Right.
But you don't got to prove yourself in the elimination as the baddest motherfucker on earth.
No.
That's not where it happens. Like,
it's just silly.
And speaking of Jordan's not the GOAT because of what he does in the elimination ring. He's a GOAT because what he does in the finals.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Anyway, so the votes start bouncing around and it kind of looks like Emanuel's going to get sent in.
I know. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was getting, Emanuel being on my fantasy team, Sphincter was getting a little tired. I was like, oh no, let's not lose him. But, so he gets a couple votes at first and then everybody starts going Ciarran. And it finally gets to Ciarran and he goes, look, it's obvious. I'm going to vote for myself. Let's just get this over with. I'll go down against him.
Yeah. They don't even finish the rest of the votes. They're just like, major props to him
reading
for that.
The room.
Yeah, exactly. I loved it. And I loved the way that it like we said, he didn't, when Asaf first stood up and was like, I want Ciarran. Do you want to just come with me? He was like, no, we're going to do the vote. And then as he saw the vote going, he was like, all right, fuck it. Yeah, I'll go down with you. But I like that he didn't do it right at first. But then as soon as it got to him, he was like, fuck it. Just I'm going.
Yeah, he didn't take the bait.
No, and I really like how Ciarran has handled himself throughout the entirety of this competition. Like, I like Ciarran. I liked him on Australia. Like,
I do too.
I feel that he could very easily be one of the staples of the new crew that's coming through. And I'm totally fine with that. But I like that he doesn't always feel the need to speak out. If he can get away with not saying something, then he's not going to.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I really wish another name was pulled in the draw. I wish we would have seen Asaf versus Jordan, because I personally look, and the reason I say that is I don't have the connection to Asaf. I don't.
I absolutely hate that it was Ciarran that we lost, but I'm just saying I honestly would have loved to see what that chaos poll caused. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's dealer's choice. Just Corey safe.
but that's my question is, is it just anybody, or does Jordan get to pick out of just the two, or is it anybody up there?
Yeah.
And sorry, I know I'm jumping way ahead, but you did it first.
I know. I was just trying to state the fact that, like, as a viewer, my emotional connection, who I align myself with, is more on the Ciarran side than it is Asaf, even though Asaf is in the alliance that I'm kind of rooting for.
Yeah, but I do like Ciarran. I agree.
Yeah. Anyways, next up is the elimination. Yeah, wild.
Wow.
And this one's called King of the Hill. And we'll get into the description of it. But TJ announces that Corey and Ravyn are the winners, and they're on a little pedestal, and it's quiet. And Corey looks around and goes, "What? No clap?"
I died.
Line of the night. I loved it.
Yes.
I like that it wasn't plural either.
And then everybody was like,
no clap.
Yeah, just.
I appreciate the pettiness of calling that out. I really do.
It was awesome.
I'm just going to say, I know Josh isn't here, but I am really surprised he didn't make it for the Corey episode, because that's what this really is up to this point.
Yeah.
With that being said, TJ lets Asaf and Ciarran know that if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And enter back center stage.
Oh my God.
Jordan.
I'm blushing already.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Jordan comes out just exuding confidence.
Wow.
You guys want to take it from here?
I think maybe Rick and Tony should just take a break for now. Me and Corrina can talk.
Just go ahead and mute it. I don't care.
Tony, camera.
Go ahead and hit the Jordan sound.
Ooh, let's see.
Challenge Fandom Podcast Unplugged.
Yes.
With that being said, it'll be linked below if you want to hear Jordan talk with us for 3 hours.
Yeah, he was so much fun. Oh my God, I fucking love Jordan. But yeah, this was so cool. They edited this so awesome. It was so exciting. I was so fucking hyped. I knew exactly who it was immediately.
My face hurts from smiling, like, since I watched it.
It was perfect.
Even from my perspective, now I know Tony has a different one. I'm going to give him his opportunity to present his case, and I feel like he's going to get a strong rebuttal from everyone here. But with that being said, I knew who was going to be on, because obviously the challenge can't hold any secrets, and released the preview like the day before.
Yeah, that's true too.
And so I knew it was Jordan, but that intro, I got hyped.
So good.
Like, just, the way he came out, all of that. And we find out that, Jordan's mission is to send a contender home. And if he gets to if he wins, he takes 10K of their money.
From their final prize.
Yeah. So they would. What? So theoretically the total would go from 406,000 to 396.
Yeah.
And then TJ asked Jordan what he thinks of the contenders, and of course Jordan says, "Well, Horacio, he whooped my ass last season.
He spanked me."
He spanked me. Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
And
I do like that though. Honestly, like, I just want to say, because I've seen that some people online are kind of giving Jordan shit for this, and they're saying like that it was fucked up for Jordan to do that because he like called Horacio out and like pointed out how strong Horacio is to all these people and put a bigger target on him, like all this stuff. I'm like, I really don't think that was Jordan's goal with that at all.
If anything, then Ravyn said it before Jordan was even on the show. Because she just said it to Ciarran earlier in the episode.
That's true,
well,
too.
And my thing is like, once again, if these people aren't researching the last season and didn't hear about Horacio tying the record for most elimination wins and having a really good chance at winning a final his rookie season, if it's not for a freak fucking accident to his partner, like, they deserve to get kicked out of the house right away. Like, how are you even alive? I'm just saying.
How are you still alive?
How do I fuck up every quote? God damn.
That's all right. I got you.
Thank you. Anyways, so Tony, knowing what this portion of the house is, I know this is the 0.5%. that you don't agree with us on this episode. Tell us why.
So I don't disagree with Jordan being a mercenary. I don't disagree that Jordan's an absolute badass. I don't even disagree about like taking 10K. I'm all for that. I just don't like that they're sending in people who are arguably like the best to do eliminations to just send people home, because they're giving them eliminations that are best suited to them. So like this was tailor-made for Jordan, basically. And then they send Ciarran home as a result. I would rather have the elimination, since presumably the eliminations are going to be tailor-made to the people coming in, because they're not going to want to send Devin in and then have it be like a hall brawl. Like what I would like to see is that the house sees who's coming in, sees what the elimination is, and does that same deliberation on the spot there of saying a name of who they think is best suited to protect their money, or have somebody nominate themselves to go in and protect their money against the vets, but have it be non-elimination and have those eliminations double up later on down the line, however that works. But I don't think that they should be having in like these absolute fucking badass mercenaries to take people out of the game when they're wanting to find a new champ against one another. They're then bringing in these people that are absolute ringers. And I love the fact that they're taking their money, and I love the fact that they're getting the money. Not that it just reduces the pot, but that it actually goes to the vet who does it. I would just rather see it as a non-elimination and have somebody have the chance to kind of step up, save the money for the bank, for themselves ultimately, because they hope that they win, but also for the house, and then figure out the eliminations to get down to a final after that. That's the only qualm that I have with it, is I just don't like the fact that the people that are coming in to take people out, when even if they were all in a season together, you're probably not going to see Jordan or CT in the elimination because they're the ones that everyone's scared of. So you're not going to necessarily go up against them in a normal season other than a final.
I agree with everything except for the elimination part. I think it has to be an elimination. Yeah. Because in no other situation will a rookie get an opportunity to be a champion without going against and playing against champions in every season. And I think that's what makes Turbo's win so epic. It was a difficult final, and he had to be a GOAT to win that final.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's what makes it so impressive. The fact that Jordan won Dirty 30 against Derek K and CT, even though he was only a one-time champion at that point.
With an injury, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it really, interesting. In my personal opinion, I wish this was an invasion of the champions, where we got you get an individual winner of the champions and you get an individual winner of the new people.
That would be interesting.
I would be okay with that too. And I'm actually really like your idea of they see the vet come in and then do the nomination right there to see who's better suited. So it's the winner's nomination and the house nomination right there against who they think could beat this vet in this elimination.
Right.
I would be okay with that because I think that makes it very, very interesting. Because the elimination was tailor-made for Jordan. This is
and
that's where it's like, and that's where I find the disadvantage is like they're bringing in these vets, and the vets aren't coming in to make a fool of themselves. Like they're coming in to win the whatever elimination that they're in. So it's hard to, like, we just lost Ciarran, who placed second in the Australia final after Troy, who's like near unbeatable in most aspects of the game. So I feel that as a result of just coming in with like 10 bets, I wouldn't be surprised if we get 10 people out as a result, and you're potentially going to have a much weaker final as a result of getting out some of the heavier hitters through vets rather than actually having to go up against each other like the first four did.
Well, I mean, here's my thing. If none of these vets that we know are coming in are unbeatable.
Right. Nobody is. No. And here's the other thing is I totally get your point for this first one, but now they know. Now they know that there are mercenaries.
I can't even do it now.
Words
The
are
audacity.
hard.
Now that they know that there are mercs/mercenaries, granted, they don't know exactly which one they're going to be facing, but they know what the situation is now. So I feel like they can better strategize as far as who they want to send in, knowing that it's going to be a heavy hitter champion of some sort. You know what I mean? So,
and learning what we learn after, with knowing that whoever goes home, they could have won you or kept your $10,000, like if they didn't go home.
Yeah.
So now they're going to be sending down even stronger people. It's crazy. This is why I like it.
But I think that's where I have the problem with it, is just because, again, and I'm interested to see how it goes, because there will be a duality between sending somebody down to get them out of there versus sending somebody down because you think that they're going to be able to save you the 10K. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere along the line somebody tries to prove themselves and says, I'll do it. It's a dumb move, but I'm sure somebody will do it because they need that clout. But yeah, if it was non-elimination, I would be 100% all for it. Save the money. And then when you get into your third phase, there's double eliminations. Even if it's not as teams, if it's a girls elim and then a guys elim back to back, that's fine. But I'm just not liking the outsider coming in with a specialized elimination to then take somebody out. But that's the only slight that I have about chaos.
But I just highly disagree with that, Tony, because that's what mercenaries are in every season. They're brought in for an elimination to take someone out of the game. And in some situations, they take their place in the game.
Yeah, I am glad it wasn't that situation.
Yeah, I don't like that situation. Yeah. But, and if we don't get him coming in for an elimination, then it might as well be a daily. It's not the challenge if you don't have an elimination.
Right.
Now, if the argument was, I think the challenger should come in for a daily and not the elimination, I can get on board with that. But to say to have an elimination, but no one gets eliminated, that doesn't.
Well, then it's not an elimination in that phase of the game. Then the chaos phase, the elimination wouldn't necessarily be an elimination. It would be to protect your money. Then, rather than calling it a specific elimination, I'd also be fine if they kept it in the team format. They play for 50K, and then the next phase of the daily is to defend that 50K against whatever that comes in. The only problem that I have with it is vets coming in to eliminate the people that are supposedly fighting to be a champ amongst themselves. That's the only qualm that I have with it.
I just feel like if you eliminate that, you eliminate some of the greatest moments we've ever seen in the challenge.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the whole challenge. I just mean this specific season and this specific format. I'm fine with mercenaries coming in on a season where there's already winners and everything else. Don't care. But if you're setting it up as these people are fighting amongst themselves to crown a new champ, and then you're going to bring 10 heavy hitters in to take out 10 players.
Yeah, I like it because of how TJ said it is. To be a champ, you got to beat the champ. So I like that they have to. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I get it, but
agreed. I completely get it. I think I line on the other side of the fence on this one. It's just,
I just don't agree.
Unfortunately, we can't always hive mind on everything, but it's just, to me, I would be more on board with it if this had ever happened in a season before. But every other season, excluding the very first season of the challenge, you've had to beat a champion at some point, whether it was outsmarting them socially and getting them into elimination or beating them in elimination to win said game or beat them in a final.
Right.
And
but that's just a normal season then.
Yeah, I get that. But at the same time, it's, this isn't saying that we're not letting a new person win. This is just saying some of you have to go against badasses. Sorry.
But then some of you don't, is the contrast. Because to be a champ, you have to beat the champ. Doesn't necessarily mean that every single person that's on that line is going to go up against one of the vets and beat them and then win the final. So they don't even meet the brief that TJ's setting out.
Well, my thing is and we'll move on after this. I don't want to be stuck on this forever. But my thing is for someone like Jay, this is a fucking godsend, because who else are you going to send in to beat Corey Lay now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And Corey Lay is no joke. And I'm not saying that Jay isn't better endurance wise, but like this sets up a lot of big moves for people in the game where we're going to get more exciting gameplay, because they're going to be like, well, if Jordan came in and he was the first one, maybe
who else is coming?
Maybe we are going to get a Tori and we can throw Berna in against her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or we can get Olivia out against a Cara, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where I think some of the excitement we'll get through. But anyway, so Jordan comes in. They tell him that he has to pull. It's a draw. It's 3 pulls in the dirt.
I love this.
Me too.
I love how he walked up and just fucking yanked that fucker out with one hand in slow motion.
Oh my God.
The only thing I didn't like was that it said Ciarran's name instead of Chaos or Asaf, because I really want to know what that Chaos is.
I want to know what it is. I want to know what it is so bad. Like I'm sure it's some kind of, where Jordan gets to choose who he wants to go against. But is it he just gets to choose between the 2 that were voted down, or he gets free reign at everybody?
I hope it's free reign if they're like if they're doing Chaos, because otherwise it's like mild inconvenience.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like diarrhea, just saying that.
Yeah.
Anyways, just real quick hypothetical. If it is he pulls Chaos and he could choose anyone, do you think he chooses Emanuel?
Oh,
actually, I don't know, because that conversation didn't happen until after.
Yeah, and I've seen people online say like they think like he might have called down Horacio just
as a rematch,
just for the excitement and the rematch, And I think that's possible. That sounds like something Jordan would fucking do.
Look, I'll be honest, Tony. The only time I'll agree with you on this mercenary thing is if Horacio gets eliminated because of it. I'll be like, "Fuck this shit." You know what I mean? Then I'll be on board.
Well, that's how I felt as soon as Ciarran's name came up, because I was like, okay, and that to me is what sucks. Is like almost any name that comes up, you're just kind of like, okay, that person's going home.
I will say I'm not super attached to these cast members.
Yeah.
As if they were vets, so that could be also why not that I don't care that some of them are going to go home, but like I don't know Ciarran. I didn't watch his season. This is the first time I've ever seen him, so I was like, "Fuck yeah, Jordan!"
Yes, agreed. And I think I'm probably in that same situation, even though I did like Ciarran more than Asaf in this situation. I would have been okay.
I liked Ciarran. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would have been okay with Asaf going in against Jordan. I think that would have been a good elimination too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so getting into this elimination, King of the Hill, basically it's 2 different hills and it's got 3 lights set up on each one of the hills. And the way it's explained to us is that they will turn on sequentially, one, then the other, and you have to race against the other person, and the first person to turn off the light gets a point. And now maybe I was confused, but I thought TJ said the first person to win 2 in a row,
2 rounds
wins, or did he say
the rounds are a minute long, and then they're the first person to win 2 of the 3 rounds?
Yeah.
So that was lie detector determined that was a lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, especially because there were actually 5 rounds, not 3.
Yeah. And it was best out of 3, not
it's weird.
Yeah. It wasn't 2 rounds. So what we saw obviously was a hell of an elimination.
I actually kind of liked this one. Like I
loved it. It was so good.
I wish we would have seen all of it.
Yes.
I wish we would have seen all of it as well.
Yeah. But breaking it down, look, like I know a lot of people don't like Jordan's confidence. Some would say cockiness or hubris, but
I love it.
Tell me that
we love him.
Yeah, tell me that did not make for great TV. Like, and I know he was, when he stood there and he was letting Ciarran go back and forth and score those 2 points, and it was edited to show us that he was having a lot of hubris. What was really happening is that they were told there was no wrestling, and they kept wrestling and they weren't resetting. So it was almost like in protest, like acknowledge me and give us fair rules.
I do want to add on to that, though, that I really love that even though Jordan decided to do that little like protest thing to get the refs' attention of like, hey, you're not doing this right. And he, I don't want to say he gave Ciarran those 2 points because he didn't give them to him, but he fought against production to let Ciarran keep those 2 points because TJ had already, blew the horn to start the round, and Jordan made the decision that he made. So it's just like, to me, Jordan is like the epitome of a true competitor. Like he's honorable in the game, in every type of sport, physical competition, anything like that he plays. He is honorable. He goes by the rules. He fights for other people, and I know in that video that he posted on Instagram, he said that even if it's not him in the elimination or the daily that's in like a, not being, or it's not being played fair or it's not being played right or whatever, he'll stand up and say something. That is 100% true. We've heard that from other challengers during our Challengers Unplugged, that like Jordan is the one that like calls production out for safety equipment, or, playing by the rules, playing fair, calling shots fair, so he's a really great fucking competitor. And I absolutely love when he showed up, and I love when he's on my TV. I have nothing to complain about.
We're very happy. Very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that being said, I did love the hubris of him going up 2-0 and then Jordan counting off the points and fucking, 1-2, 2-2,
3-2,
3-2.
4-2, 5-2.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, went like the very last light, like he waited, he made Ciarran climb that hill before he hit that light to win. He did that to him a couple times.
Yeah,
I was like,
and he did it in his socks. He was in his socks.
Yeah, he was doing it in his socks.
And people are saying it was because the shoes they gave him were slippery and he complained. He just said one came off, so he just kicked the other one off. And then when they reset, went to the next round, he put his shoes back on.
Well, and Ciarran's came off as well in the very first round.
Yeah.
So like, Jordan was just like, fuck it, I'm not going to, fight with my shoe the whole elimination. So I don't blame him.
Dude, Jordan's confessional though, where he goes, I have him 2 points. He's got 2 points and I still won. This guy couldn't win the Aussie season. What do you think he's going to do against me? I was like, God damn, Jordan. Fuck, man.
Holy shit.
With that being said, Ciarran put up a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
And
yes,
he did better than I think almost any of the other guys would have done, excluding maybe Horacio, Emanuel, and Jay. And maybe Corey Lay too, because Corey Lay's a big guy and he's got some strides on him. Yeah, he's a fast guy.
Yeah.
Ciarran put up a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
I don't think Ciarran was ready for not the physicality and endurance of Jordan, but the mental game that Jordan brought into that elimination.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that was ultimately what caused his downfall. I think you play this game 100 times. I think Jordan wins 90 of them.
Yeah. I agree.
All the foreshadowing of like Ciarran going into this too, like it was sprinkled all throughout the episode. I'm like, well, you know who Jordan is now. Sorry.
Exactly.
Well, and it's just the strategy of making him, like you said, walk up those hills to burn that little bit of energy on every fucking round at the end. Because Jordan's not gassing out, especially for sprinting 10 yards for 20 minutes.
No, the dude runs friggin' marathons for fun on Tuesdays.
Jordan inevitably wins 3-2, even though it's portrayed as 2-1. And Ciarran is eliminated. Jordan wins $10,000 from the prize pot. So the prize pot is down to $396 now. Yeah. We get Ciarran's kind of post interview. I feel bad for the guy because it kind of hits him.
Can I say I have to say I'm impressed with all of the men on this show for being so vulnerable. Because I know I'm surrounded by a lot of, I don't want to say like toxic masculinity, but there's a lot of men who are afraid to show that side of them. So it's nice to see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I loved it. I love that. I love that we are seeing that more and that they're showing that, like, the editors and the producers and MTV and all of that, like they're embracing that more. And I love it. Like, I fucking hate when like Josh gets made fun of for like crying or like, it's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
you are an asshole if you make fun of somebody for crying. You are a straight up asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Agreed.
So at this point, the show's pretty much over. But TJ lets Jordan know, hey, congratulations. Let's get, basically gives Jordan the opportunity to talk to the competitors and give like kind of a winning.
Give them some
speech.
advice.
Yeah, and some advice on how to proceed.
Advice.
And he's kind of going with the stereotypical, like, give it your all, play the game strong, all that. And Emanuel turns around and gives him his back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not edited to show the reaction as far as like how Jordan really reacts. It's heavily edited at this point.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a few people, and they've let me know that it was a pretty icy situation, not just with Emanuel and Jordan, but a few of the castmates in Jordan, from what I've heard. Definitely one of those situations where we should have got a shit you should have seen.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to see everything that surrounded that moment. I want to see it all because we are not seeing it. And I know a lot of people out there are very upset with Emanuel right now, but fuck that. We are not seeing everything that happened in that moment. And I want to see so bad. I know we never will, but damn it.
Look, and here's the thing. The reason that Emanuel does this isn't because Tori. That's not the reason.
No, people think that?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who think that's
No.
Jordan and Tori and Emanuel and Tori.
No.
But what it really is because there was a post on Instagram about Emanuel, and Jordan had commented on it, basically calling Emanuel the dollar store version of him.
Yeah, he was just repeating the fucking joke that fans were telling for like the whole season that Emanuel was on Spies, Lies, Allies or whatever. And Jordan repeated the joke in a comment, and it caused a bunch of bullshit drama.
And Emanuel saw it and took offense to it, which he should have, because he looked up to Jordan.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know that because I've talked to Emanuel about this when it happened. And look, and I see Jordan's view on this and why he did it. He felt a certain type of way because he's watching his ex-fiance on TV with this guy that bears a similarity to him.
Yeah.
And I get Emanuel's point of view of like, dude, I looked up to this guy. Like, I modeled my game after him, and he's attacking me on social media, and I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
So I see both sides of it, and I did like the fact that Emanuel said, I can't wait to get the chance to go against you. And he's like, well, you should have come down here.
Yeah, but that's not true.
From what I heard, that wasn't a possibility. Production wasn't going to let that happen.
They almost never let that happen.
Yeah.
Like, there have been specific seasons where people on the cast are like, I
volunteer
want to go
tribute.
down. Yeah. And TJ's like, no, dude, we can't do that. Especially on a season where the house is voting people. Like, no, that was not an option, Jordan. But
no. And I did like what Jordan said, though. He goes, I hope you get the chance.
Yeah. That would be a fucking awesome elimination.
I would have loved to seen this elimination between Emanuel and Jordan. It would have been, I don't think there is a better matchup in this house.
Yeah. I would have loved
So good.
Loved it. I would have loved it.
Like, because honestly, don't get me wrong, I love Jordan as a competitor, and it's hard for me to take anyone over him, but in this elimination against Horacio, I think Horacio beats him.
Ooh, that would be
I think Horacio's faster, has just as much endurance, and can play just as dirty, and we've seen it.
Yeah.
And this sort of elimination is very similar to what's on like Exatlon, like the show that he was on. So I could see him doing really well in it.
Yeah.
So for you guys watching, who do you think would have been the best matchup against Jordan in this elimination? Let us know, comment, send us a message on IG. But that pretty much wraps up the show right there. Like I said, my favorite show of the season thus far by a mile.
Favorite show of the season?
Sorry, my favorite episode of this show. It's late. I'm high on marijuana.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I said that. Don't demonetize us. Maybe cut that.
You probably.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, no, this is definitely my favorite episode of the season so far. It was really good. It was exciting. And like literally the whole elimination, I was just like, so I loved it. I liked the episode a lot. I'm looking forward to see like what the next daily is going to be. Are they going to do individual? Are they going to go to like a team format? You know, are they going to stay? And if they stay in pairs, are they staying in the pairs that they already have, or do they like get new ones every, you know what I mean? So I'm excited to see what happens with this.
Okay, so I have seen the order. I just don't remember the order of the mercenaries. I know who comes at one point, but that's not going to be for a while.
I know 9 people that come at one point.
Yeah, exactly. But I know the one you're looking forward to, you have to wait for.
Damn.
So,
Casey.
but
I figured though.
Yeah, they're going to save him for last. Let's be honest. My question is,
and it's going to be a female next.
Do you think it's going to be a female? And if yes or no, who do you think's next?
Yes, I think it's going to be a female. And I think that they're going to send in like, I think they'll either send in like Tori or Kaz.
I assume Kaz.
Someone newer, or not newer, but someone who has been on more recently.
Also because like the other names, and no disrespect to Kaz, but the other names are going to have a bigger pull and a bigger reaction as you get down the line. So I think, and again, no disrespect to Kaz because she's a badass, but like to go from Jordan to anyone else and then hit Kaz, it's going to be a weird vibe. So I feel like Kaz is next, and then I don't know what happens after that, but I feel like Kaz is the logical next step. And like Jacob and I were talking about it before we started recording Survivor Historian, and we're just like, and I realized that I've almost repeated exactly what we talked about, so I feel like I have to at least give him partial credit, which was the fact that like Kaz is the most likely one to be next, because to get, not to get her out of the way, but to like continue on that height of the people that are coming in as mercenaries, it makes the most sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be someone more recent. So my opinion would be either Kaz or Tori.
Yeah.
For them, if it does happen to be a man, like we don't get male, female, they kind of mix it up on us. I would almost say you go Devin.
Oh,
Devin next.
I was thinking
you go Devin
Darrell.
next.
Yeah. Devin or Brad. I was thinking Brad.
Oh, yeah.
I would say Brad, but I got a feeling like you go from Jordan to Devin. You keep that cockiness going as long as you can.
That's fair.
Because once you get through those two guys, you got Darrell, Brad, CT, all very humble.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
so, I mean, with that being said, guys, that pretty much wraps up the episode. Let's get into MVPs. Corrina, who's your MVP? And if you got a line of the night?
I don't know. Like, are we? I guess, you know what? I will give my MVP to Corey, just because of how like badass he was in the daily. I will give my honorable mention to Ciarran. I'm sad that he's leaving. And then a major shout out to Jordan. I don't necessarily want to give my MVP to the mercenary, but Jordan fucking came in and he showed out, and, you know, it was fucking awesome to see. But like I said, I don't want to give my MVP to the mercenary. So Corey Lay, honorable mention to Ciarran, and big shout out to Jordan.
I'm going to give my MVP to a mercenary. So
do it.
So I'm giving it to Jordan because honestly, he made the episode for me. Like I don't do well with change, so I was excited about this season because of the mercenary. So he gets mine, and I'll give Ciarran honorable mention.
I love that
as well. And then I did have a line of the night. Jay made me laugh when he said "Go Gadget Arms" during the daily.
Oh yeah, that one was really good.
What was your line of the night?
My line of the night was Corey. What? No clap.
Yeah, that's a good one. Tony, who you got?
I'm gonna go Corey, because nobody wants to navigate being the one who makes all the decisions the very first go round. Nobody wants that. And he handled it as well as it could possibly be handled. Honorable mention, absolutely Ciarran. Loved him on Australia. Wish he would have been around longer on this season, and absolutely expect to see him back again. I can't give, it's still too tethered to Ciarran leaving that Jordan came in. So I can't give Jordan accolades. But he
doesn't need
came
him.
in
He's
and
got
did exactly
enough.
what he was supposed to do. And he did it well. So I don't really have a female MVP. But the line of the night for me has to be Kylan's right out of the gate of not the fucking clock stealing all my shine.
You know what? I forgot about that one. That one's
good.
So fucking good. Like, I've got more honorable mentions for line of the night than I do MVP.
It was a good episode.
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep mine short and sweet. I can't give my MVP to a Merc, so it's Corey Lay for my MVP. Killed it on that daily, dealt with some shit, made the show entertaining. Like, yes. So to me, my rating earlier of 4.25, like, even without Jordan showing up, it's still like a 3.75 or a 4. It's still a great fucking episode.
Yeah.
And Corey Lay did that.
I agree.
Shout out to Ciarran. And then, you know what? Line of the night, I'm going with the classic. I've only known you 2 weeks.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's it. You guys have any closing thoughts you want to throw out there? Any shout outs? Anything you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
I mean, I'm just excited.
I will apologize to Katie because last week on Survivor Historian, for some reason I got in my head that your name was Melissa. So I said that I wasn't going to be on the podcast, but Melissa was. And then this week on Survivor Historian, it's like, so her name's not Melissa, her name's Katie, and I don't actually know where Melissa came from. But then I was like, I don't even know if she listens to Survivor Historian, so I want to make sure that I told you here that I fucked up your name last week and then corrected it this week. So I've negated myself, and I am now fully confident that your name is Katie.
All right. Thank you.
You got the name from our OG, our very first OG hater turned fan, Melissa, remember? Because she was like, I don't even want to say hater. She was the one that wrote in about how much Rick said, with that being said, and then we named the episode after her, where it was like, with that being said, fuck, sorry, Melissa. And now she's besties. What's up, Melissa? We love you.
I hope she enjoyed it.
This was all just an elaborate ruse to give Melissa a shout out.
We talked to her. I talk to her all the time.
I was just going to say, I mean, I'm sure she's going to love this episode because we said, with that being said, about fucking 12 times.
Honestly, I have to tell this part, and I really hope that she doesn't mind. I don't think that she would, but just like, so when we interviewed CT and I was getting all that like backlash about how I have an annoying laugh and I was like giggling like a schoolgirl and like blah, 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 whatever. And then we started getting like messages about how like we curse too much or like whatever. Anyway, and I was like sharing that information on our stories and like making jokes or whatever. And she ended up writing in and she was like, you know, these people have no right to tell you like what to say or what to do on the episode. And she's like, fuck them. And you know what? Fuck me for how I, you know, came at you guys for what you were saying on your episode. Like I fucking love Melissa. Like, she's so cool. And so major shout out to Melissa. We love you. And you should definitely come on with us one day.
I've already told people you're on.
I don't know if she can make it work. Right? Yeah.
We're going to have Katie on at the same time to fuck with Tony.
Right? Katie and Melissa.
I put my name as Melissa. She puts hers as Katie.
Right. I literally was going to say
you can just see smoke coming out of the headphones.
It's like when Alex is on, I have to fucking say the name of his podcast.
Cartoons Watch Two Dudes.
Dudes that have cartoons that two of them. Yeah.
Jinx.
We're on tonight.
We are.
With that being said, we're about to get off of this fucker. So for myself, Ricky Hayes, my beautiful wife, Corrina Hayes, Tony, Stats and Info Lance, Katie, a.k.a. Melissa.
There you go. You got a nickname. You're welcome.
We want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoy listening to this as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you guys. I actually had a blast tonight.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, leave us 5 stars. Make sure you subscribe because we flip out these episodes like hotcakes. So you got to be quick. We've got
an Unplugged coming out soon too. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed.
Yes. And if you're not, checking us out on YouTube with video, go do it.
We're pretty.
And if you watch us on YouTube and decide it's not your cup of tea, find us on Spotify podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. We're there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Love y'all. Night.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.